We appreciate your presence here. The Lord bless you. Now we talk on the family.
Every household in Nigeria eats rice as staple. It is also the most common food served during occasions and celebrations such as meetings, conferences, weddings, and other social engagements. Despite the high demand for rice in many homes, local production over the years has not met the demand. Part of the challenges in many crops, including rice not being able to meet local demand, has been attributed to post-harvest losses. Every farmer, just like any businessman, wants to make profits from his farming venture and, more importantly, desires to provide his family with nutritious food. Rice grains can be lost shortly before harvest, during harvest, and during the post-harvest stages. It happens mostly during the beginning and completion of harvesting, primarily caused by losses due to shattering. Post-harvest activities include harvesting, handling, storage, processing, packaging, transport, and marketing. The term post-harvest loss in rice production means any reduction in the amount of edible rice grain due to reduction in availability, edibility, wholesomeness, or quality that prevents the rice grains from being consumed by people. These losses are usually experienced from the period of harvesting to consumption. No matter the stages these losses occur, they are not just losses in terms of food, they also represent losses in seeds, fertilizer, labor and time, which translates into a reduction in farmers' profits. The continuous increase in population has also led to a corresponding increase in demand for food. For this reason, and because local production has not been able to meet the demand for rice consumption, rice importation became necessary to meeting the demand. However, importation itself poses a challenge to improving local rice productivity. It also affects the national economy through capital flight and reduction in the share of agriculture in the GDP. Reducing post-harvest losses in rice production therefore means accelerating economic growth through improvements in local production and processing capacity. This also means improvement of the income and livelihood of Nigerian farmers.
There are a lot of challenges as regard to harvesting and post-harvest issues in agriculture. And the major ones actually is to know when your crop is ready for harvesting. The actual issue is about the moisture content of most of our agri-produce. Once the moisture content is not low enough, farmers will encounter a lot of damages and wastage as a result of harvesting their crops with too much moisture. And another challenge actually is the manual way or method farmers use in harvesting most of their crops. As against that, we are having a lot of prototype equipment that can assist our farmers to harvest properly and in time without wasting much time. So after harvesting, of course, farmers are supposed to dry their produce very well to a manageable moisture content, which for most grains is about 12%, 10 to 12% moisture content. Once your grains are dry to that level, it can be good for storage.
To help farmers reduce losses in rice and other crop production in Nigeria, the AGRA NAERLS CBA project organized capacity building workshops to empower farmers with skills and knowledge to reduce losses in crop yields. The participants included rice farmers from Kaduna and Niger State, while the resource persons were drawn from the academics and agricultural value chain actors across the country. The workshop was to empower farmers with the requisite knowledge and skills to manage harvest and post-harvest activities to reduce farm losses and increase income.
Don a ce a sarrafa amfanin gona bisa ka'ida wanda buri ake so a cimma. So a takaice akwai abubuwa kamar guda 3 ko 4 waɗanda ake so a cimma waɗannan burin. Misali na farko shine a rage asara. In ka bi ka'ida ta sarrafa amfanin gona akan lokaci to za ka rage yawan ɓannan da za ta samu a gonarka.
So if from here is where the producer is, and there is where the consumer is, the activities that is taking place between the producer and the consumer is what is known as marketing, right?
The workshops discuss in details the various stages where losses are experienced in rice production. The quantity and quality of the final milled rice are said to depend on the efficiency of farm management, field operation, and post-harvest operations. These factors influence efficiency, grain loss magnitude, choice of harvesting and threshing technology, rate and quality of drying and dehusking processes, and eventually total recovery of milled rice. There are recommended practices in rice production that must be followed to achieve good quality produce, from site selection through fertilizer application to crop harvesting. First practices that can expose the rice crop to high losses include poor site preparation, poor weed control, and inappropriate fertilizer applications. Furthermore, harvesting operations involves efficient use and management of time and technologies or equipment to obtain good prices for the milled rice. Timeliness is also very crucial in rice harvesting. This means harvesting at the right time, not too early or too late into the season. When you harvest too early, there will be high percentage of broken grains and low milling recovery. If harvesting is delayed beyond necessary, the crop is exposed to rodents and birds, in addition to the risk of lodging and shattering. Moreover, harvesting activities also include cutting the rice stalk, reaping the panicles, laying out the paddy on stalk or stacking it to dry, and bundling for transport. The right application of harvesting and handling operations can considerably reduce post-harvest losses in terms of quality and quantity of the produce. Although rice harvesting in Nigeria is still largely done with traditional manual tools such as sickles, there are modern mechanized methods of harvesting rice with less labor and yield loss.
Earlier than now, I just harvest my crop, just store them anyhow in my own way. But the lesson I received today has improved my knowledge on how to harvest my crop, on how to store it, and how to, even to the extent of marketing it in a way that I will keep it very safe. Before, I used to harvest it even when there is still moisture in it. But now, I made to understand that I have to allow it to dry very well in order to avoid mold.
The transport of paddy from the fields to processing areas is largely performed in Nigeria using humans and animals. It is sometimes performed by mechanical power. Manual transport of paddy often results in grain loss. Also, during threshing, the paddy kernel is detached from the panicle by beating, rubbing, or stripping by humans, animals, or tractors. Through this heavy and somewhat uncoordinated process, some grains become damaged. Besides, the process itself wastes a lot of time and energy that could have been used on some other productive engagements. Threshing using mechanical devices is much easier and minimizes all forms of economic losses. During storage, paddy absorbs and gives off moisture depending on the paddy moisture content, relative humidity, and temperature of the surrounding. Therefore, harvested grains with high moisture content must be dried before storage and milling to reduce losses. Paddy cleaning is an important operation and highly recommended for small, large, or commercial scale farming. The degree of cleanliness of the paddy reflects, to some extent, the care applied during harvesting. The paddy is cleaned right after threshing by winnowing or using an engine-powered device. Storage is a critical operation in post-harvest handling. A good storage structure must protect the paddy from extreme heat or cold, as well as inappropriate moisture level, which causes microbial and fungal growth. Some of these conditions also encourage the growth and activities of insects, pests, and rodents, which damages the rice grains.
Moisture content of the rice is at the recommended level within this 12 and 14%. Make sure that the drum that you use, or better still the porcelain bag that is being used, covered the area in which the rice can splash to while threshing. Ensure that, okay, even if the rice should scatter, it falls back on the nylon, and after that you can just pack your nylon together. Also, during this winnowing process, make sure you do the process on a particular porcelain bag and nylon so that you can recover the grain. When you are using mechanical method, there are instances where you have grain losses due to breakage, grain losses due to recovery, and the likes like that. So you have great recovery when you do your processing, processing on a porcelain bag, so which reduces the losses. The procedure, the method you use in packaging the rice also results into post-harvest losses. If the bag is not the type that allows air to flow in, because it's very important for agricultural produce, the respire. What we mean by respire is the quantity of moisture that you have in this rice. They give this moisture off into the air, and they pick up some saline air. So this process of respiration, if it's not taken care of by the packaging, the packaging bag that is being used, if it's not taken care of, before you know, it picks up moisture. You will think you have stored your rice in a safe place. However, it begins to grow mold.
The results from the 2020 dry season rice farming in Kaduna and Niger states are already showing that the capacity building objectives of the AGRA NAERLS CBA project has largely been achieved, as farmers are experiencing reduced post-harvest losses. When food losses are minimized, food and nutrition security is guaranteed. The ordinary Nigerian would have sufficient and affordable quality rice on his table, while incidences of hunger will be drastically reduced. Also, farmers' incomes and livelihoods are enhanced through effective and efficient production processes. Ultimately, the national economy experiences tremendous growth when agricultural productivity improves. The results are expected to be evident in the rice subsector in the coming days. And it is expected that the AGRA NAERLS CBA project would repeat this feat for other crops to boost agricultural production in the country in no distant time to achieve food sufficiency and security.